Kia ora, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live, Team CP Media, the podcast. 50 episodes of podcast magic tonight, brought to you by Team CP, your endurance coaching specialists. And I'm James. I'm back off the bench. You can call it whatever you like, but I'm here for another wrap-up. And tonight, 50 episodes with 50 Shades of Grey. And all good things come in 50s. And the man that goes 50 miles an hour in the time trial, which is on right now, as Richard Greer, team captain. 50 episodes, you've got to be wrapped. Welcome to the show, Rich. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and thanks alluding to my hair color as well, James. That was
I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Getting old. But hey, it's awesome, isn't it? It's great to be here and getting through 50 episodes. Early on, we were up to like episode number 7, and someone said to us, if 7 is the, if you can make it over 7, you'll be good and you'll be gone. But under 7, a lot of podcasts finish at about 7. So that was a crux, got over that. And it's been awesome with you and Matt and Angus leading the hot seat. And we've got a nice wee system. Had some fantastic guests over those 50 years from John Quinn, who's been on 3 times, Gemma McCaw, who led out for our first, Nathan Fahave, Moss Burmester, Anton Cooper, who raced the mountain bike at the Olympics the other day, Eddie Dawkins, Laura Siddell, Greg Henderson. And also just our team athletes. Like that's one of our key things, is just sharing stories of our awesome people that are doing stuff. And then I think the other thing that it's been really cool is our event specials that we've done, the Coast to Coast, Motatapu, specifically Challenge Whaka 100 Christchurch Marathon, and sort of sharing some of those stories that happen in the lead up and then following those events. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. It's good to be part of and awesome to have this platform to share and hopefully educate, which is a key thing that we want to do with Team CP and helping people be better with less effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And 50 is a great number. That's quite a milestone, isn't it? 50 is it's almost a year's, well, it's over a year's worth. We've had a couple of breaks off, weeks off and things like that, but that's over 12 months worth of talking to people and hearing about people's journeys and learning, and that's really something to be commended. So nice work, and I do hope that everyone gets as much enjoyment and benefit out of the show as we do producing it, and all of the work that you put in behind the scenes, Rich, to make sure we get people on to talk to and learn from and listen to, and it really creates a nice product. So thank you to all of the listeners for contributing to making this show possible. And of course, to our show sponsors, of course, brought to you tonight by Team CP, your endurance coaching specialists, but all of our other sponsors throughout the year that have helped make the show possible.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's great, James. So just to wrap up last week's show, we had a Whaka 100 special, and again, all of those podcasts are in the on YouTube, and then also on podcast apps and things like that. So you can go back and have a listen to previous ones. So have a listen to that. It was an awesome episode, lots of good feedback and bits and pieces, and we had some Bluetooth earshots, Bluetooth headphones that we gave away as part of that. And Michael O'Callaghan, who is actually just new to the Team CP team, but also went crazy. I think I was looking through the comments and things, was commenting during the show about 6 or 7 times. So it's hard to go past that when you've got that much enthusiasm. So Michael, there's some earshots, Bluetooth headphones heading your way.
Absolutely. It's all about volume. Nice work, Michael. And just on that, throughout the show, as always, if you do have questions or comments, please put them in the comments section below. Richard and I are keeping an eye on them. And tonight, of course, if you do make a comment and your comment is selected, we have a prize pack. We go into the draw for a prize pack from the front runner Colombo. So always an incentive. And we've got some great guests that are always worthy of a question. So, Rich, finish up the wrap-up. What else have we got?
Finish up the wrap-up. Hey, we want to just have a quick mention about a peak bagging open season, course of July. How many peaks can you get? Can you climb a peak with the dog, with someone else, with some friends, and get to the top of a named peak? We've had a pretty busy weekend, actually. This is finishing weekend. Saturday is your last chance to get up a hill. I've actually claimed one this season. James, how have you got on?
Oh, yes, I'm beating you at something. I've got 3.
Oh, 3. Oh gosh. Heck. Well, at least I'm up a down throw anyway. Hey, do that. Share your story. Share your picture at the top. We've got the Flash Sun 2 GPS watch to give away. Just a quick shout out to Kelly Evelyn, took 6 peaks and isn't finished yet. She's hoping to bag a few more this weekend. So Mount Ada, Mount Sinclair, Mount Vernon was what she went and did. Duncan Burke had a big weekend claiming Mount Bone, Mount Bledisloe and Te Puke as well. CP Jenny Rankin headed out with her daughter to claim Sugarloaf and went on solo for 2 more as well. So great to see lots of people getting out all over the country, exploring their backyard and checking that out. And also, just as the next thing coming up, we've also got an annual Team CP brunch ride and run on Sunday, the 29th of August. We're going to meet out at Taitap. Everybody's welcome. It's free. Let's just get together as a community, as a team. If you're out of town, that's when it's happening. You're more than welcome to come along. We have a coffee cart. We'll have kids can come on their bikes and sort of join us on the run, etc. Bit of a bunch ride, whatever. Come and join us on the 29th of August. So there'll be more details about that, but flick that in your calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a great way to start off the season, and everyone loves cake or coffee or something like that. So there's something in it for everybody, isn't there?
Whatever your motivation is, James. Absolutely. Hey, tonight on the show, we're going to chat to Scott Chamberlain. He's lining up for his first crack at the Whaka 50 mountain bike event as part of the Whaka 100 event, which is 13 weeks' time, or maybe 12 and a half now. He's got a powerlifting background, and so Scott knows what it means to be an athlete, but riding uphill is something that he's, I guess, learning to love. So it's been really awesome working with Scott, and he's just returned from an epic weekend riding his mountain bike in Rotorua and has been making some big gains in his training lately. So really going to enjoy having a bit of a chat with him and sharing some of his learnings.
Nice.
After this, you actually noticed that we started this podcast maybe a minute or two early. We've just realized that the All Black Sevens are playing at 9 p.m. So we've got 45 minutes to do the show. So Kim Vargo was going to talk about strength training, but she's cut. We'll have to catch up with her next week. So, so Kim, love your work, and she does a great job, but you're going to have to wait with bated breath to chat to her. But in terms of this show, we're super excited to announce that we have ex-Olympian, Commonwealth gold medalist and silver medalist, New Zealand swimming superstar Anna Simcic. But that's not all that Anna does. She currently works with High Performance Sport New Zealand, the Canterbury Tactics netballers, and is a career athlete life advisor, helping athletes get stuff sorted outside of sport so they can perform to their potential in it. And obviously she's been there, done that, and has that experience to help others see how good they can be, which is, I guess, what a lot of what we're about, aren't we, in terms of actually balancing life and family and all those other things to actually have a crack at our sport to see if we can finish them and create and get across the finish line and achieve what we want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2 things came to mind, actually, just before I bring Anna in. Obviously, the Olympics with swimming at the moment, but then also just in the news, mental health, which has affected one of the gymnasts. And I thought immediately, this is exactly what we're talking to Anna about tonight. So super excited to welcome Anna to the show. Should we bring Anna in, Rich?
Yeah, go for it, James.
Rightio, 3, 2, 1. Anna, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for that introduction. I'm really excited to be joining you for this podcast, my first ever podcast with you blokes.
Yeah, fantastic. And thanks for taking a moment away from the TV screen. It's been tough balancing life and work and family and all that sort of stuff with Olympics going on in the background. Can you see the TV over the back of the computer right now?
Kind of, sort of, but you'll know if I'm going that way. Yeah, it's over there, but it's on mute, and I don't want to get distracted because then I get distracted easily. So I'll focus on you guys.
Yeah, start sitting up and start that's when we know that it's getting exciting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, Anna, give us a bit of background. You're a household name from my perspective, and been around for a while. Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into swimming, and who were your key influences in your early years to rise you through the ranks and actually get to the point of actually performing at the highest level?
Lots of questions there. As a kid, I'm a Sumner girl, grew up by the beach, and I think most of us Kiwis love a good old swim in the summertime, rivers, lakes, the sea. swimming pools if you're lucky enough to be near one. And I grew up in a community that did have a local swimming pool as well. So growing up at the beach, and we did have a local pool in Sumner, and I kind of got a taste of that through Sumner Primary. And they had this little dolphin swimming association that you used to do. It was a real family kind of vibe. And my brothers did it, and I did it, and friends did it, and it was outdoor pools and little 25 metres, sometimes some of them weren't even 25 metres, I don't think. And that's how I got a taste for it, and it was fun, and it was community based, and I was okay at it. I wasn't magnificent at it, but as you do as a child, you try everything. And so it wasn't until I got to high school when I actually signed up as a 13-year-old for, it was Avon Aquatics back then, it's now Aquagym, and started swimming. I think it was just once a week, and then it went to twice a week, and then I got a taste of the competition, and I was obviously talented at it, but we know talent only gets you so far. And I'm a pretty hard worker. Like, one of my strengths, and actually probably a weakness on the flip side of it, is my work ethic. Sometimes I work too hard. That's when I got into it when I was 13, and probably by the time I was 15, I was really training as a competitive swimmer. So I was in fifth form, which is year 11, for those youngies out there. And I just missed out on the Olympics when I was 16 years old, and that was probably a turning point for me, because I decided then, I thought I had worked really long and hard, but really I was pretty green and inexperienced. And that was me kind of going, I'm all in, and I'm going to give this a go. I was, I think, 0.2 away from missing the Olympic Games as a 16-year-old. So I was like, I've now got a beautiful 4-year cycle that I can aim for, and I'm going to be there next time. And that was the turning point for me, signing up to be a competitive swimmer.
Yeah. And who were your influences? Was it family that that helped you through to get into that? Who were you talked about community, but is there one or two people that really helped to support and drive you to do that?
I think, initially it was around my peers and meeting different people. And that's the beauty of sport, isn't it? You meet all walks of life and come together and connect with all kinds of different people you wouldn't usually connect with. The club was instrumental in that. But probably one of the main influences, apart from my parents, of course, the unconditional love and support. And poor mum was, swimming's not an easy sport. I was up at 4:30 in the morning to get to, we had to be outside at 5:15 in the morning outside the old QE2 or Aquagym when that was built. And we were doing our abs and our calisthenics and our stretches at 5:15 in the morning, or you were sent home kind of thing. And mum was the one, before I had my driver's license, that was doing all the driving around. So mum and dad, key support, and to this day they are. But my coach, Brett Naylor, was instrumental in my whole career, and it was always a coach and then later a mentor, and just now a dear friend. And I think he was really ahead of his time back then, coaching well beyond his years way back then.
And why do you say that? Why do you say from a coach coaching well beyond his years? What were some of the things that he was doing?
He was a clever guy. He was never he was really interested in other coaches and what they were doing, and he would ask a lot of questions and listen. And I'm talking not just New Zealand based, our good old Australian rivals across the ditch. He would always be picking their brains, and he'd try things. He'd take educated risks, and also, he never had the ego and the patch protection, do not look over my shoulder. He would always share his wisdom and ideas with other coaches. And we really do. The era of the swimmers in my era, I really think that was the golden era, because all the coaches were sharing their wisdom and resources. And, I'd go and train with Duncan Lang down at Dunedin, and Daniel would come up and train here, and we'd just share. We'd share and support each other. And everyone was in together for the betterment of raising the level of everybody.
And when you're willing to share, people are more willing to share with you as well. So it goes both ways, doesn't it? As part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that he did really well, and this kind of, I guess, is a wee segue into the work I do with high performance sport now. We have a lot of case management meetings. So when we're working with athletes, we might have the athlete there, the coach there, the strength and conditioner, the physio, the biomechanist, athlete life, Quinny mental skills, and we're all in the room together. Brett was doing that 25 years ago. I remember sitting there as an athlete, leading up to the Olympics, and I had my parents there, and I had medical and physio and everyone around there sharing, going, how can we make this girl swim faster? And I was included in it. And that was revolutionary. People are just really starting to do this now, yet Brett was doing it back then, but we're just calling it case management now.
Brilliant. Hey, that's awesome. Hey, you won silver at the Commonwealth Games in Auckland, and then you followed it up with gold a few days later which is amazing, and that sort of really put you sort of out there, and from a New Zealand perspective, over a 12-year career performing at the highest level. Is that the performance that you're most proud of, or is there another one that really stands out for you?
No, it's definitely not. I was absolutely green. I had my swimming initiation at that Commonwealth Games, where they humiliate you when you're the young rookie on the team, and there are a lot of young ones there. I didn't know what I was doing back then. Literally it was my first international competition, and I think I had kind of, when you've got that steep acceleration and improvement, I had kind of burst onto the scene and won all the backstroke titles and all the rest of it. And the media all of a sudden was like, this girl's going to win all these medals. And I was like, I've never been on the international stage before. What are you talking about? I had my own goals and own expectations, as did Brett. But it was a really interesting scenario. So I was very green going into the Commonwealth Games, and the silver medal that you talked about was in the 100-meter backstroke, and I wasn't such a sprinter, so 100-meter backstroke is still a sprint in my eyes. And that was first, and I was such a greenie. I knew how to swim that race, but I got so swept up into the crowd noise and the vibe and the emotion of it all. I snuck a peek up at the board, because it was the old backstroke turns, and saw that I had touched first at the 50 and went, oh my God, and got kind of carried away. And as soon, of course, as you know, when you get a little bit, I had jumped to the end of the race instead of being in the moment. Probably I lost the race then, and I got out-touched by my more experienced Australian rival. So that was gutting for me as an 18-year-old, but I had to turn it around in 2 days later to come back and do my favourite event in the 200 backstroke, and just put the media aside, put everything else aside, and trust the processes and the work that I had done going into it. So that was a learning experience. I was wrapped, don't get me wrong. It was a really, really proud moment, and one of my proudest moments being on home soil. But I certainly don't think it was one of the best races I've ever done, because I was so inexperienced. So I see other events as better than that.
Yeah, another like a great learning curve, and great to be able to right the wrongs of the thing that didn't go so well a couple of days later to nail it. That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, and it became a real mental game for me, because I lost confidence. It was the first time that I felt really betrayed by the New Zealand media, funnily enough, as a young 18-year-old, because they labelled me Silver Sadness, and I thought they were just basically labelling me a bit of a loser. And I'm like, but what do you mean? I did a PB and I got a silver medal, and I've got a medal for our country, and you're kind of telling me I'm a loser. So that was really hard to get around as a young, inexperienced athlete. So I had to put all that aside, and again, Brett kind of guided me through that, and just went, no, we're knuckling down, we're blocking everyone out, you don't talk to the media, you trust your processes, and we go. And it worked better the second time.
Trust your race plan, trust your process, do what you need to do, and we'll figure that other stuff out later. So within that, like you've had to deal with media a lot, and the pressure of expectation that winning brings, and you've won once, and the media expect you to do that again. And watching these Olympics at the moment, I don't know how you feel about it, but that fixation on medals, how do you feel that affects both the athletes participating at the games but more so those that are watching? Because I mean, we've had some amazing performances, PBs by huge margins, and then they're like, do their race, okay, maybe you get an interview afterwards, but hardly, and then on to the next thing, and it's just glossed over, these epic performances from New Zealand athletes. It's not even really given credit for. How do you feel about that?
It's really hard, and working with our young athletes, and especially the ones going off to the Olympics for the very first time, it's around just being really clear on their own expectations, their tight team, their support team, the people that truly matter. I know that's easier said than done as well, because I'm super sensitive, and I find it hard to block out all that stuff as well. But for the athletes, it's around really being clear on what they're setting out to do and how they're going to do it. And part of the job of being an Olympian and at the Olympics is, doing the interviews, but you can control that to a certain extent as well. I had a really harsh lesson in that when I dipped out. I really bombed out at the Olympic Games in 92 when I should have medalled, and there's all kinds of reasons for that. But I went down to the warm down. I had a process that I always followed, and that was to talk to my coach first, and then I would talk to the media. And so I walked past all the New Zealand media and I was like, I'll be back. And so I went into the warm down pool, and I was sitting in the warm down pool, which was closed off to the media. It was just for athletes and coaches. And I was sitting there with Brett, and I had my head down. I was just devastated because I had bombed so badly. And he had his arm around me. And the next minute I heard the male swimmers, Daniel and the boys, absolutely swearing their head off at someone. And I looked up, and there was a TVNZ cameraman there filming the whole process, and they were like, beep, 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 and Brett just basically went, you get in the water, pushed me in the water, and they told him to bugger off. And I felt really betrayed around that again. And it was, I know they're doing a job, but also I felt really betrayed. So again, you've got to kind of control your environment and as much as you can within the constraints of playing the game to a certain extent as well. But again, it's managing your own expectations versus the country's as well for these athletes. Yeah.
Do you think it affects people sitting on the couch watching at home, that in terms of the non-medal and the way that people look at things and success and failure?
Possibly, because you're relying on, if you're just tuning in and you've only got the commentators to listen to, or whoever's presenting, whether it's Sky or TVNZ, or you're tuning into other channels, that's what you're relying on. And we were even talking about it at work the other day, when we were watching Anton Cooper's epic race the other day. I was getting really frustrated because they weren't Kiwi commentators, and they weren't giving us, intimate knowledge of Anton's training and schedule and all the rest of it. So you're just relying on that. And so unless you do your own homework, and all the listeners out there, you've probably got more interest than everyone else, but you are relying on those people. And and again, even with the printed or online interviews, it's often one person's opinion. So
that's right.
That's really hard for a lot of people to take as well. Go, oh, I didn't say that, or they've really twisted my words right now.
So let's just jump back to that 92 Olympics in Barcelona. You're in fantastic form, train the house down, best form that you've ever been in potentially. What happened? And you said it didn't quite go to plan. What happened in the lead up? What affected your performance, and what did you learn from that whole experience?
Yeah, if I back up the track a wee bit more, we had the World Cup circuit at the beginning of that year across January, February, and that's what you talk about. I was kind of in the best form of my life then. We were training through it, and by that I mean we were still doing quite high mileage, even though we were training. We were competing for 2 days back to back, and then we would have a day of travel, and then you'd be into the next kind of competition. So we were training through it and with the racing, and we just nailed it. We had a very, very small Kiwi team, and I was just on fire for whatever reason. It was short course. That's when I did get the world short course record as well, and it was kind of, it opened my horizons. There was in Paris, there was a French butterfly, 200-meter butterfly. He got the world record first off, and then a mate of mine was in the men's 100-meter backstroke, and he got a world record, and he got out and went, this is fantastic, you can do it too. And so I was so pumped up watching these two guys get a world record. I was like, why not? So I just kind of dove in and got a world record as well. It was just kind of, that self-belief as well, and nothing to lose, leaving it all there. So that was back then, and I was in really, really good form. But then something happened in between, that January, February, we came back, we were getting into the hard grind again in the build up to the Olympic Games in July. And I think, I know. I was overtraining, I wasn't listening to my body, and I'm pretty sure that was the start of chronic fatigue, which I had for the next whole Olympic cycle after that as well.
Right.
And I will often talk now in my old age wisdom, train train hard, but train smart. Like I said, my strength is my work ethic, and I know how to train hard, but
Yes.
often didn't give myself permission to go, hang on, my heart rate's up, I'm not feeling good today, I've got a bit of a sniffle, because we were back in that mentality was like, no, you go hard or you go home. You vomit over the side of the pool, good girl, you've worked hard, off you go.
Yes.
So that happened, and then I got sick at altitude training. We did a really intense 3-week camp at altitude, went and joined the rest of the New Zealand team before going into Barcelona, and I just wasn't well. And we know now with our studies at high performance sport that athletes need to enter their pinnacle events, their campaigns, being healthy, fit and well.
Yes.
I certainly wasn't going into that, and I got a massive ear infection as a result, because I got sick at altitude. It obviously never went away. Yeah. So massive learning, and probably that's one of my biggest regrets of my whole career, looking back, going, I never knew what I could have done because I wasn't well.
Yeah, and that's you can't change it now, but it's hey, the learning that you're passing on to other athletes is part of your job. So that's definitely got value, isn't it? And I guess you've got to try and take a positive from that. But looking at that sort of chronic fatigue that you talked about that sort of lasted that next 4-year cycle, is there some learning for that? Hey, if I just taken 6 months off, or like, what are your thoughts there, not looking back on that? Because I know that that's something that is quite common for people of all levels, depending on how deep they're going and how hard they're pushing.
Yeah, I certainly think now, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. But I know back then I was pretty bloody strong-willed and stubborn as well. And we were still, remember, under that kind of old, Arthur Lydiard type training, doing massive mileage and all the rest of it. I think things have changed a wee bit now for swimmers. And so for me, probably back then, if a medical team had told me to take 6 months out, I would have really struggled with that, but it would have probably been the best thing. But I broke up my time in that next Olympic cycle by going over to America as well, but I probably burnt the candle at both ends doing that as well.
Classic. Yeah, so tell us about your story after swimming. So how did you get into your current role with High Performance Sport NZ and Category Tactics and the performance wellbeing work that you do? How did you transition from high performance athlete into that space?
Yep. So I finished my degree after I finished swimming, and I was lucky enough. I kind of went on a bit of a roller coaster ride around the circle a wee bit with my education. I was studying to do a BEd PE, and then I went over to America, and I was having a little smorgasbord of everything there. From media to psychology to sociology, a lot of sports ethics and sports sociology. I really enjoyed that. And then I came back and just got a good old BA in education and sociology. And then I moved into studying, and I got the opportunity to work with, we were the Academy of Sport back in those days. And we did like counselling and career counselling, and that's how I've moved into the role. We used to be called Athlete Career and Education Advisors, and it was based on this kind of Australian qualification, and now we're called Athlete Life Advisors. So title's still not probably ideal, but it encompasses everything from kind of, the holistic approach to time and energy management, to decision making, to professionalism. Wellbeing's a massive part of that now with our athletes. There's a very, very strong shift towards, all athletes kind of having a really strong live wellbeing plan. And I'm really passionate about that area as well, especially, taking all your energy systems into account, because athletes often focus, not always, of course, because we've got good guys like Quinny and that around the physical, the physical training and the hydration, the nutrition, the sleep, and then the prehab, the rehab, the recovery, all of that. But often they don't think so much about, the emotional, the mental, the social, and the spiritual elements. So I really dig down into the why and athletes' values and athletes' strengths, and then them having a really clear pathway in terms of what are they doing now and how does it all fit in. So if a young athlete comes to me and they go, I really want to be a doctor and I really want to go to the Olympic Games, I'm like, those two things aren't going to quite match and work together for now. So let's map that out and talk through all the possibilities and the opportunities and the constraints of it all. So it's a very cool job.
Yeah, cool. And really making differences to people's lives over and above just their sport and where that is. so as part of that, I mean, that's part of really what we're doing with the people that we work with of all different levels, and everyone's got busy lives, balancing work, family commitments, and majority of our people are doing their sport as an individual challenge on top of everything else that they need to do. So probably similar to a high performance sport athlete for a big part of it, because they have to juggle the other things so much as well. So and that, as you mentioned, that time and energy management is really critical to get the performance right and to balance everything out on a long-term basis to make sure people still are employed and actually are married at the end of it, and also potentially, hopefully, achieve what they want to do as well. So based on your experience, what are some things that we can do to help ourselves both perform really well but also being successful in other elements of our life as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I still haven't nailed that. I work in this area and stuff, and I still don't nail it. I really don't. But I think it's around awareness. So knowing when you're at your best, physically, mentally, emotionally, being really clear on your purpose and your why. So what are you training for? What are you working for? What are you in this relationship for? Whatever your why is, to do with everything. Knowing when you're at your best, mentally, physically, what do I look like? What do I feel like? What are my thought patterns and all the rest of it? And most of us will say we're at our best when we are happy, fulfilled, we're well rested, we've got positive relationships, we're asking and receiving feedback, and we've got more positive emotions compared to negative emotions and all the rest of it. So knowing when you're at your best, but also that changes in roles. I'm a mum, I work kind of 3 different jobs and stuff, and I don't think, I know we all say we can multitask, but it's being really clear on what you're doing now and kind of going in full bore, but also giving yourself, I call them joy breaks, or we in athlete life call them joy breaks. So if you're working really intensively on a project or you're doing training, it's just like, you don't often go for, well, maybe you do in your training, but, in swimming, we'd often have 5K timed or 1K kick or whatever the crazy thing was, but you often break it up into sets. So joy breaks and everything is around being really mindful that you can, often we perform optimally for about 90 minutes, mentally and concentration at our desks or whatever. So break it up in 45 minutes, go and see some sunshine, or connect with a friend or a loved one or your child or your partner, whatever it may be, or go and make a cup of tea. Whatever it may be. So break it up and just be really mindful of where your energy is at all the time. So role clarity in what you're doing and being okay. So for athletes as well, it's like, when do I turn into the athlete? Is it, I'm a university student, and you're not an athlete when you're at university, you are there to learn and all the rest of it. But as soon as you get in your kit and get ready for training, that's when you need to switch on and give it your all and be really intentional around that. So I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I could go on and on and on around that. But I think it's working back from you at your best and going, what are the habits and routines and things I can do to keep me at my best, and what are the things that pull me away from being at my best? So knowing those things that drain you, the things that energize you, whether that be you need alone time, you need some music on to get yourself motivated. Post-it notes are beautiful if you need motivation, for whatever reason. Write yourself some post-it notes, stick them on your mirror or your bedside or in your rear vision mirror when you're driving but don't have an accident, or whatever it may be, your wallet. Send yourself little affirmations and messages. There's some really cool little tools and tricks that you can use to keep yourself on track as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So habits and routines, as you talked about, and actually just being where your feet are, being here now. So then you can connect with your family or do that bit of job really well or train really hard. But when we start spreading ourselves really thin, that's when we start juggling and it just gets stressful and it's all too much. And then we start battling and we don't end up doing, nothing goes well. Everything's kind of average.
And it's an awareness as well. And, like I said, when I had emptied the tank too much and I still wanted to train, I think one of the things I tell athletes now, it's a little bit of a positive psych thing, is this helping or harming? You've got to go out and do your training, but your partner's really upset. Actually, is this helping or harming if I go for a run? Yeah, I really want to, but right now, right here, I'm going to stay here because this is helping. I don't know. That's a really simple tool as well.
Yeah. Are we going to lose all my brownie points today, or am I going to win some? So you've got to sort of toss that up, isn't it? It's a constant balancing act. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Always juggling, aren't we all?
Yeah, that's it. I think you've just answered probably so perfectly succinctly the question that I was going to ask about. I'm asking for a friend, but if I feel that friend maybe needs a little bit more training volume in their life at the moment, how best is it for that friend to get that training volume? But you've just basically answered that perfectly. I've got a page full of notes, Anna. It's been fantastic. Some really great tips. I need all of them.
I'm sure you don't.
You're too kind.
That's awesome, Anna.
What do you reckon, Rich? Should we wrap it up with some quick 5 questions?
Yeah, Anna, we've got some quick 5 questions we're going to throw at you. You're not allowed to think about them too hard. You're just going to tell us this or that. And James, you want to lead us out?
Right. Okay. I think I know the answer to this, but Anna, training morning or afternoon?
Afternoon.
Oh, really?
Really? Oh, out of the... No. Like, I'd say that 80% of people that we get on here is like training morning, get it done. But like, is that because we've trained at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. for a lot of your life? Actually, I'm going to enjoy the afternoon. So good.
If I had a preference, afternoon, but in reality, I get up at 5:30 now as a mum and a plotter and run because it's the only time I've got in a day. So then I lose sleep. I want to do my run. So I'm always doing this as well. What do I want? I want the run because it's good for my mental and physical health. Off I go.
Yeah, good stuff. Awesome. Favorite ice cream flavor? I'm just assuming you're an ice cream eater.
Don't do ice cream. Sorry.
Don't do ice cream. Favorite dessert? No. I'm going to throw that out there then.
Chocolate.
No.
Good job.
Fancy meal out or a home cooked meal?
Oh, I'm a home girl. I'm a real home girl. Nice. Any day. Yep.
Good.
Brilliant.
Nice.
I'm sure you have a few adventures out and about doing stuff. What's your favorite snack to eat while you're out and about?
Probably a good old nut scroggany mix.
Okay. With some chocolate in it as well.
Yeah, just a little sprinkle.
And I hesitate to suggest that I might know the answer to this one too, but I'm not sure now. Where's your favourite place to train?
In the world or in New Zealand?
Anywhere.
Probably Hawaii.
Good answer. I think that's a model answer. I'm not sure that the QE2 pool or something like that would quite cut it. Hawaii's pretty up there. Good job.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. Won't be going back there anytime soon, eh?
No, right. Sadly not. Yeah.
Good job, Anna. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your insights. Thanks for your time and energy. You've got some Olympics to go and watch and cheer on. So enjoy that, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you. And sorry I blabbed on too long.
No, that was excellent. Got a great page of notes. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us, Anna. Really appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See ya. Here we go, Rich. Joy breaks. How good is a joy break?
Sounds good, doesn't it? I'm all in for that. That's good. And just taking a moment so you can do that. It only needs to be a moment, but refresh yourself so you can get in and do the thing that you need to do really well rather than just sort of getting worse and worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of talked about that, don't we? We call it, you and I probably call it a 15-minute break, 15-minute rule. But essentially, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Just taking a step out of your day to refocus and get something else in. Yeah,
that 15-minute rule, we talk a lot about that in terms of like training and hey, if I've got a busy day, at least do something, keep that consistency up. 15 minutes we've decided is the least amount of time to call a training session. So on Strava, you can tick it off to, so at least I've done something, and you'll see on my Strava, there's another one yesterday. At least I've done something. Yes. Run the dog, it all counts, and that's good. And that's just part of that time management and energy management as well as amongst your day, but also that hey, I'm being consistent, and I've got a goal out there that I'm looking to try and hit in time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 15. I think you got kudos for that. You know, it all counts, and one kudos equals one kudos for 3 hours or 15 minutes. So it all counts towards your total. Good job.
Good job, James. Nice work. Nice work.
Onwards, shall we? Should we move on to part 2 of the show?
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, make some comments. Tell us what you've learned. Tell us, ask us a question, etc. as we go during the show. Oscar, the team at the Front Runner Colombo, I've got a prize that we're going to post out next week and let you know. So even if it's after the show, you're listening to us as a podcast, get out there and just send us a text, send us a message, put a Facebook comment up and let us know what you've learned. But Scott Chamberlain, let's have a chat with Scott. As I mentioned at the top of the show, it's his first crack at the Whaka 50. He's turning himself into an endurance athlete as a result of all the lifting and things he's done across the course of his, I guess, athletic career. And he's just returned from an epic weekend riding bikes in Rotorua, which you've got to put a smile on your face. So Scott, is he in the background?
Scott, let's bring him in. Kia ora, Scott. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Evening, men. How are we? Good to be here.
Well, thanks. Sitting nicely in the background. Thanks for joining us. It's great to be able to have a chat with you.
Oh, it's all good. Thanks for having me on.
Good job.
Follow after what we've just listened to. So.
No, that's awesome. Hey, Scott, where in the country are you? Where are you beaming in from this evening?
Oh, I'm in Taranaki, so beaming in from New Plymouth. So.
Perfect. Yeah, good
job.
job. Excellent. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Scott, tell us a little bit about your background. How long have you been doing this endurance sport gig for?
I guess, seriously, probably 2 years. I was just sort of having a look back. I rode road bikes when I was at uni. Many years ago, but I guess I did my first sort of mountain biking endurance event 2 years ago when I got thrown into the deep end with the port to port in Australia. So that was my first crack at something. And since then, I've been performing terribly. So I've actually sort of taken it a bit more seriously probably in the last 6 months. So yeah.
So obviously that initial port to port didn't put you off because it's a 4-day stage race on your mountain bike, eh?
Yeah, well, I found something that I was absolutely rubbish at. I got through day one. I think I finished dead last in the field, and at the end of that day, I just thought, oh man, I've got to do better at this stuff. Because despite all of that, I actually really enjoyed it. So I thought, need to improve, but didn't really do anything about it until this year, to be honest. But just used to enjoy sending the mountain bike down, some exciting downhill stuff. But
work it.
I guess the last 6 months I've really started to take it a bit more seriously. So
good, and to see what can I do and where can I go. But you've put the entered, which is always a great way to sort of get a bit of commitment. Why into the Whaka 50? Why the Whaka 50? What is it about that event that you sort of said, right, that's the one I want to have a crack at?
Because it's not the Whaka 100.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Yeah. Oh no, look, the Redwoods are one of the best places in the world to ride bikes. And I work best if I've got a reasonably big, hairy goal to work towards, and Whaka's one of those. And a few of the boys are doing it, so decided that we'd all get together and put our entry in, and not that it's going to be a competition, but it always is. So. Yeah,
and it's good to have a bit of banter around the place, isn't it? Just and also get you out of bed in the morning, just because the other guys are doing a bit, so I need to keep doing my thing as well.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, good stuff. What do you enjoy most about riding your bike?
I think I was trying to define that, and I was listening to a podcast the other day with a guy called Stephen Kotler. And he talks a lot about flow states, being in those flow states where nothing else kind of matters. So I think that's the trick with mountain biking, is that if you're not focused on hitting that route at the right angle or taking that drop with the right technique, you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to do it quite badly. But that focuses you to be in the moment and forget about what's going on at work or at home, or all that stress stuff just kind of goes. So the reason I actually got into it in the first place was because it was quick and easy stress relief because of all that other stuff. So I think just coming back off riding some amazing trails over the weekend in Rotorua, it's all about just being in that state of mind where nothing else matters except the trail in front of you.
That's an awesome answer, and it is It is exactly about that, but and even from the point of view, if you start thinking about writing it differently, or you're overthinking about it, conscious thought too much, then again you write it badly as well. So it's actually about like almost not thinking about anything and just doing it, and you have to completely zero things to be able to focus on what you need to focus on, don't you? Which is, as you say, that flow state.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I think that's what I enjoy the most about riding bikes, is particularly mountain bikes. You get a little bit with road cycling as well, but probably not quite as much. But yeah, when you're on the mountain bike, you just focused on nothing but that, and that's really good. Yeah.
Awesome. That's so good. How's your training going at the moment? What wins have you had over the last month or so for you?
Well, training's going well. I'm pretty poked tonight. I tried to keep up in that Swift session tonight, and it was just, I don't know, wasn't my best effort, but the training's going well. I think I'm just a bit tired after what's been a big weekend this week.
Yeah.
Wins, some good gains in the FTP scores.
Okay, cool.
So
it's always good to test yourself and
chasing you down, mate. I'll get to you.
Can we just share that? What sort of numbers and things have you started with, and where you're at now?
Sure. Yeah. So when I started working with you guys, my FTP, I did a test. It was 215.
Yeah.
Did a test last week. It's now 318. So pretty stoked with the work that's taken it to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a quiet goal that I want to hit before the end of 2021, but I'm not going to tell you what that is because you'll use it against me.
Yeah, that is dangerous. And there was a little bit of banter went around as you did that awesome score the other week. Is that mine's not far off either? So you're hunting me down too. So a little bit nervous, but it's also a good motivator, isn't it, to bounce off each other to see how you go.
Yeah, no, it is. So yeah, that's been a big one, actually, seeing that number go up to that level.
Okay.
And been doing reasonably well on the virtual series with the Zwift recently, which I'm pretty happy about.
Yeah,
and was first across the line at Rotorua on the weekend after a big weekend. I don't think the other guys didn't know it was a race, but I finished before them anyway, so that was what it was.
So sending it to the car park is
that's right.
And it all counts. And as long as they know that, like, you'll continue to tell them until the next time you go biking. So that's awesome. Hey, what have you learned? What are some learnings over the last little while? What are some key things that have made a difference to you?
Just consistency of training. So when I started, it was kind of started in the middle of I think it was autumn. I started really getting serious about it, and the weather was the weather's awful in New Plymouth, and winter time it just rains all the time. So spent a lot of time on the indoor trainer, riding Zwift and doing all those kind of things. But that's been really good to get the consistency going. Nutrition has been vital, so I've been working quite hard with Kushla trying to get that dialed in. And cool. I certainly noticed the days when I've had a good nutrition day and I ride better, perform better.
Good.
Working hard on the mental game as well. I have a tendency to get in my own head and go down the rabbit warren and start cussing and swearing and thinking of why am I doing this in a negative sense rather than a positive sense. So been working quite hard on just doing a bit of listening to guys like John Quinn around all that kind of stuff, which has been really useful.
Brilliant. And did you use that in the weekend to speak?
I did actually. Yeah. I was in a dark place on Sunday. We'd been riding for about 5 hours, and it was we were just trying to get back to the car park, and I was on one of these trails that just goes up and down all day. And I started. I needed to have a few words with myself, and I remembered something that John was saying on one of the podcasts about just going back to breath and focusing on the handlebars and feeling your toes and your shoes and all that sort of stuff. And by the time I'd been through that process, I was at the end of the climb and back on the road again and heading out. So it was good. Yeah, so I hadn't done that much before, so it's been good to actually put some of those skills into practice.
Work it, and so good to be into practice. Anything else? I think there was something else before I jumped in there that you were going to say.
No, I think that was it. Yeah.
Okay, that's all good. Yeah. Brilliant. What's going to be the biggest challenge for you as you line up for the Whaka 50?
I think it is still that mental side of things. There's a lot of self-doubt about am I going to be quick enough? Am I going to get there in within the cutoff time. You know, am I going to be in the right physical shape to get on the start line, and you know, I'm going to be good enough to finish the race. Just so it's all just my own headspace. I need to physically I'll probably be fine, but it's the mental challenge that'll trip me up, if anything. So
brilliant, and that's our job, to work on a race plan, so you know that you just need to do this bit, and then you do this bit, and then this bit, and just break it down into its little chunks, and then you can go and enjoy the challenge of getting that bit done, because you know you can do that bit, and then we'll build it forward from there. So it's all part of that process and part of that training side of things, and that's actually kind of the fun stuff as well, working on the mental element, isn't it?
It's actually it's a much bigger pillar of training than I ever thought it was or gave it credit for. So
cool.
But it's really good doing a bit of work on it. So
good job, Scott.
Well, yeah, some great answers there, Scott. And I think the bit that I was sitting in the back chuckling away, the lads didn't know it was a race, but you beat them anyway. Always an opportunity for. That sounds a little bit like you and me, Rich, when we go out. Any opportunity to put a finger in there and claim a win past a time or something.
That happened last time, wasn't it? Just sending it down after, I don't know, it was a 7-hour run or something stupid that we're racing to the bloody car park. It's ridiculous.
That's right. Yeah, good stuff. Hey, Scott, shall we wrap up your time on the show with us with a quick 5 questions?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. I know. Okay, I'll kick it off then. Training morning, afternoon, or evening?
I'm an evening guy.
Good. Okay.
I'd like to unwind after work with taking that out on the pedals or something. So, yeah.
Cool.
Good job. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, I'm just going to have to go vanilla. I know it's really boring, but when you pair it with like apple pie, it's awesome. So,
good answer.
Versatile. Yeah, versatile.
Yeah,
good
versatile.
work.
That's right. Yeah.
Fancy meal out or a home cooked meal?
Yeah, I think it's a meal out, because if it's at home, I'm either cooking or doing the dishes. So it's part of going out is getting someone to take care of all of that for you. So,
yeah, good. Yeah. Favorite snack to eat while out riding your bike?
What's that?
Favorite snack to eat while out riding your bike?
Oh, I've got to do a big plug for M's Power Bars. I've just discovered them recently, and they just seem to hit the spot in terms of taste and not making me feel sick, and
cool.
Give you a good energy boost. So yeah, I've always got plenty of those in the pantry. So
awesome.
Yep.
Nice. And where's your favourite place to train?
Oh, it's got to be Rotorua.
Nice.
I'd say it's only a short drive, and you can just spend. I think I'd go over there maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and I'd still find new stuff to do every time I go. So it's just an endless network of awesome trails. So yeah.
Brilliant. Awesome, Scott. Hey, thanks for your insights. Thanks for sharing your story. It's awesome to work with you. Really enjoy your energy and effort that you put into your training. It's been awesome to see how much you've improved and will continue to do so. So, keep hunting me down on Zwift and looking forward to seeing how good you can go come race day.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for your help. And thanks for having me on the show. It's been great.
Well done.
Yeah, awesome, Scott. A couple of really great answers. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rugby tonight, and thanks so much for your time again.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Catch you later.
Cool.
Thanks, Scott. Cheers.
Bye.
Awesome,
there it is,
James.
Rich. Episode 50 in the bag.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, that's fantastic, isn't it? We've got, again, going back to all the different people we've had, there's always great insights. And I think that's one of the best things about this job, doing this and putting the show on, is that we're in the hot seat of actually learning stuff ourselves. So well done for writing some notes yourself, and add that to the what we've learned across those 50 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's exactly right. Sitting here and listening and taking it all in, I think some of those answers tonight for me, I know I'm fizzed up about the Olympics in general, but just listening to both of our guests tonight has really got me going. There's some great answers there and some really great insights. So it's much appreciated and really valuable stuff, isn't it?
Yep, no, absolutely. So we've got some peak bagging Saturday, 31st of July, the last day to have a crack at that and go in the draw to win this fantastic watch from Suntu. The guys have given that to us to give away, which is brilliant. Keep an eye out for the annual spring brunch ride that we have on the 29th of August. And we're pretty excited about our next little Team CP challenge that's going to happen through the course of August, which is going to be the last one for the year before we get into sort of the summer season, spring of events and bits and pieces, and everyone gets really busy. So we'll let you know about what that's going to be next week.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And stay tuned for episode 51. Things get better with age. So the more we do, the more insights are going to be available to you. So thanks to all of our sponsors throughout 50 episodes. But of course, tonight, thanks especially to Team CP and of course to Front Rudder Colombo, who's supplying our awesome prize pack for tonight's show. 50 in the bag, Rich. Well done. Congratulations. Yep. And here's another 50, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And thanks for steering the ship. Thanks for keeping us on the straight and narrow. And love your work. Enjoy getting out and getting into some adventures yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. All right. We'll finish off with a bang, but we'll look forward to doing it all again really soon, eh?
Well, good job. Well done. Cheers, James.
Right. Thanks, everybody. See ya.